Hello everyone and welcome back to the PlebPod. In this fine evening, I'm joined by Sid, Matt, and Lee. I'm César, and today we'll be talking about football. Specifically, how the clubs that we support fared in this current season that's just ended.
César, can I just stop you there? You have no idea how bad your mic got out at the start.
I mean, that...
The recording doesn't know.
The recording
Now that
doesn't...
you mention
Exactly.
it, they all
Pepper
know.
doesn't know that. So... Right, so who wants to have a go... Who wants to have a go at it first? No one? Fine, I'll do it myself.
I don't mind.
So, for context, I support a Portuguese club called Sport Clube Beira-Mar. They are from Aveiro, the city where I was born and raised, and where I still live today. For a long while in our history, we were a top flight club. We have 27 presences in the top flight, a lot more in the second division. We were sort of a yo-yo club of sorts. However, in recent years, due to stuff regarding finances, we were relegated to the lowest division possible, which at the time was the second regional division. We did go up eventually to the national championship again, which at the time was the third tier, but we ended up getting relegated back to the first regional division, of which we are currently champions, and we have gone back up to the Portuguese Championship, which is now the fourth tier of Portuguese football.
Oh, wow. I think I've seen little snippets of them on Facebook Live, or Facebook Live, Lee calls it. I think you share it. I think you share it on, and I do see. I don't think I've actually seen a game them lose yet, because they shouldn't really be down there in the first place.
Exactly.
So,
I will say, our season technically hasn't ended yet. We still have, I believe, one match left to play in the championship, but we've already secured promotion and the title with only 3 losses. And hopefully it stays that way, because it has been a very successful season. Which, if I'm honest, was expected, because our budget compared to other clubs in the division is quite different, because we have a different level of support from local business, and even fan-wise. We get, well, at this current moment, we average about 2, 3, sometimes 4,000 fans a match. For the promotion match, we got a crowd of 10,000 people, which in my opinion is still lacking for the club that we are and the history that we have, considering that we not only represent a city, we represent an entire region. So I do believe that in coming years, we can increase the fan base to levels that weren't even imaginable back when we were in the top flight. In that sense, I do think that us coming down the way we did was a bit of a blessing in disguise, because it brought back a lot of fans that weren't really interested in the club in our last few years in the top divisions, myself included, by the way.
yeah.
So Matt,
Oh, wow.
what are your thoughts?
Hello.
What are your thoughts on Hull City season?
Good, personally. Our main goal was to survive, and now we're looking to build. Hopefully, maybe go for playoff push next season.
Okay.
As of course, during mid-season, the biggest news was new ownership. Acun Ilıcalı, Turkish superstar, loves the club. He literally goes to Turkey, even on like game shows in Turkey. He's wearing Hull merch. Like half the stars in Turkey have all got Hull merch now. We even got our own plane. So,
Interesting.
we are massive, basically.
Mhm.
Absolutely massive.
Biggest club in England, because
Of
they
course.
have their own plane.
And when All right,
You're just
you've only
jealous
just come out of
Sunderland
League
don't have
One.
their own thing anymore.
I never said we were the biggest club either.
Bigger than Newcastle. But no, honestly, the season's been great. Unlike other seasons, because the Allens have gone, we've now actually going to keep our players. We're not going to sell them. And we actually have something to look forward to for the club now, knowing we have a owner who isn't willing to just sell players on, who actually want to keep them.
Yeah.
So that's another good sign for the club. Because we're with the Allens, I think, for over, what was it, about 8-10 years now. Completely forgot to be about that now, yeah. I mean, they were doing alright until they decided to want to change our name. And then that's when it all went downhill from there, really. I mean,
They wanted they wanted to change the name?
I don't want to say the name, but they wanted to call us Hull Tigers. Because apparently, the Hull City, the Tigers, is not a brandable name. However, lucky the season just gone, we've had an owner, Adrian Ilagella, come in and buy the club, who has made us one of the most followed championship clubs in the league. We now have the most followers in the championship league now. Bear in mind we were like the 14th most followed club in the championship until he bought us.
Yeah.
But apparently it's not a brandable name. So now, not only do we have quite good finances now, the fans are coming back. We've had about, I think in the final game, about 18,000 fans in the stadium, compared to, I think, we used to be getting 10,000 at the start of the season. Now we're opening the West Upper again, and the stadium's bouncing again. I remember being there for the first game of the season. The atmosphere was rocking, everyone was jumping around. It's great. We feel like we got the club back. So I think overall the season is we survived. We've got our club back. Morale is amazing, and the ticket prices for the future seasons, he doesn't care about the money. He looks like he just wants the stadium full. He wants the fans to get behind the club and be part of the community again. So I don't know what more you want from an owner, personally. So I'm over the moon.
Fair point. That's great news. It's always nice when owners of clubs want the fan base to be a part of the club's life instead of just wanting to maximize profits from ticket sales. It's possible to do both. It's a tricky line to thread, but I do believe that it's more important to have a full stadium than to get a lot of money from selling tickets, because it creates atmosphere. It brings people in, especially the younger people from the city or the region that a club represents, which gives a foundation to build upon for the club's future. And with that said, Sid, do you want to tell us about Nottingham Forest?
Look, I watch football now and again. I follow. I've been in Nottingham for 5 years, so Forest became an easy pick because they're nearby. They're like, across.
Exactly.
But didn't get to watch really any matches apart from just on TV. And it was good to watch a few matches. And then at the start of the season, they had... Oh, I broke my laptop. They had a rocky start. And then they fired their manager. Had a new manager, Steve Cooper, and everything seemed to turn around. And got into, I think, 4th place in the standings from being basically last. Or 23rd to 4th as a turnaround. And then a win in the playoffs. Well, almost a bottle against Sheffield in the playoffs. But then won it. That's what matters.
Exactly.
Samba is the best keeper in the world. And then a win at the playoff finals, 1-0 against Huddersfield, who we'd beaten before. So it seemed like we were a superior team to Huddersfield. Maybe not in the finals, but just as a general player to player. From the last time I watched them. Yeah.
What's even better for Nottingham Forest fans is, like, well done, by the way, for getting to the Premier League. It's, 20 years since they were last in there. But Derby County, biggest rivals, went down the same year. And the fact they've been trying for so long, and you finally have a manager to get you up there on the first time, and you've done it. So
I know that.
I don't know what more you could have done. It must be dreamland for Nottingham Forest. Commiserations to Derby fans. Well, the main thing is they've still got a club, so I think that's.
Fair
But
point.
anyway, it's all about Nottingham Forest. Well done, Nottingham Forest.
On a side note to the second club that I support that's in India, which none of you would know about, which would be Jamshedpur FC.
Okay.
You might have seen them on the Discord stream. But
I
they
have.
won the league
Ooh.
by 6 points, right? And I was like, oh, we're buzzing. This is good. But obviously, if you win the league, you go only to like a playoff. So it becomes a seeded match for first place fourth and second place thirds in the knockout match. And they lost in their 2 leg semi-finals. So they don't win the league.
Well, you know,
It was great. It was great while it lasted.
yeah. The dream was
Yeah,
good.
it's that's a bit like the MLS. You win your division or subdivision, then you go to like a playoff round where you've got like 8 to 16 teams, and any one of them can win the bloody league.
Yeah. It's all about.
I find those a bit controversial
Slightly.
It's all about on the day who can perform the
because
best.
you can absolutely dominate the league by 10, 15 points, and then
Have nothing
Lose
to
it.
show for it. Yeah.
because a team in like 6 comes and wins it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, Lee. Sunderland.
Right, I feel I need to go back rewind the clock a few years
Go
on
on.
this one.
Go on.
So 2016-17 we got relegated out of the Premier League after we had, I believe it was a 10-11 year stay in there.
Possibly, I don't quite know.
Yeah, so David Moyes, I personally put the blame on, but to be honest, the owner never invested, so he never fully got the he never really stood a chance. But I didn't want that manager at that club. So one of the previous owners, Ellis Short, didn't invest in the final season or two of the Premier League. He didn't invest in the Championship, so we went down. We just have a club culture of sacking managers. Basically, we were just rocked to the core. I'm not even going to mention what happened beforehand, because I'm sure you've heard about Adam Johnson and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's enough of that straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many scandals, just toxic boardroom, culminating in the double relegation, so we've been stuck in the doldrums of League One for 4 seasons, and finally this year we got out of it. We even did it the hard way in the playoffs, and we were top of the league, I think, Christmas, New Year. Lee Johnson, the manager, before early January. We lost 6-0 at Bolton, but there was a few questionable results before that, so he had to go. And ever since I think it's ex-Norwich manager, Alex Neil, ever since he's came in, I think we've only ever lost once.
Okay.
Yeah, that's in. I think that's in all
Didn't
competitions.
you used to be at Preston North End as well?
Yeah, you was.
That was it. That's where I recognise him from.
They did wonders with them.
Hmm.
Don't know if he got them at the playoffs or just outside, but he literally was on a shoestring budget. So anyway, we're now into the Championship. One step away from the Premier League, but I don't think we're going to get there for a fair few seasons yet. So the aim for next season is just survive. Hopefully get somewhere mid lower table.
Yeah.
Just avoid relegation scraps. And build on that. I still need to speak about the new owners because we don't really know who they are.
Okay.
There's a businessman called Stuart Donald bought out Ellis Short. So he became the new owner in 2018. Then there was a bunch of investors. One was called Juan Sartori, I think he's still there. Charlie Methven, I think, is still there in some form. Stuart Donald's still there in some form. But the controversy was when they sold the shares to Kirill Louis-Dreyfus, Cyril Louis Dreyfus, who is a French billionaire, and his family used to own, I think it was Marseille,
Okay.
and I think they still have very limited shares, like very small amounts of shares in them. So we thought it was a complete takeover or a majority takeover.
Mm-hmm.
That turned out not to be the case. I think a couple of months ago when they released it, he only owns about 40 to 45% of the shares, but he is a majority stakeholder.
Okay.
Stuart Donald and I think Methven still own about 34% total, and there's a bunch of others own the rest. So it is literally all over the place.
Yeah.
I think we were promised a near total takeover, and we didn't get that. So there's still a bit of fan uproar about that. I don't really know who's investing the money, but whoever does, better invest well in the championship. Because, but I think we're going to get strangled by financial fair play.
Possibly.
Another thing that actually links us to Formula One as well. The rich energy owner, William Story. I've got to tell this because it's just so fucking farcical. Obviously, we all know about his exploits at SF1, comparing him to Williams and a milk float. Pulled out the sponsorship, and about a year later, he decided he wanted to launch a bid for Sunderland AFC.
Okay.
He named 4 investors, but didn't reveal who they were. That bid eventually got rejected for Cyril Louis Dreyfus' bid.
Okay.
But I've heard rumours in the past few months he's trying to launch a full takeover again. So,
Okay.
I don't know what this fucking wizard is doing.
Hagrid?
Yeah, he literally looks like Hagrid with groomed beard. I don't know what he's trying to do, but he is he's a complete fruit loop.
What I think he's doing, Lee, like, he's getting the rich energy out there by doing stuff like this. Like, yeah, okay, he's coming across like a bit of a douchebag, but it seems to be getting the rich energy name out there again, isn't it? Like, he's doing it in the wrong way, but everyone's sort of saying, oh, rich energy this, rich energy that. And everyone's out there thinking, oh, what's rich energy? And to see what it is, you know.
But have you seen it in a shop?
I have.
Where?
Poundland.
So I still haven't seen it anywhere.
Great.
Rich energy's moving up in the world,
so
everybody.
to me, this drink doesn't exist. To me, it doesn't exist.
Like, you go to Centre of All or into York, you'll see like rich energy, and it's like £5 for a pound because I can't sell it.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it is stupidly priced.
I like Carabao. If I was to get energy drink, it would be Carabao Apple. It's really nice.
I do just want to mention one fact about Sunderland when we were actually had our heyday in the Premier League around about 2000. Kevin Phillips is the only English player to win the Golden Boot in the Premier League and the European Golden Boot.
Okay.
Interesting.
Was that for the season just gone, or
No, it's 2000.
2000.
you just had to mention that?
That's a neat.
Yeah, he just had to.
He scored 30 goals.
That's a neat
If we
fun fact.
if we're gonna mention
no
history,
no other player in the English divisions has done that, as far as I'm aware.
Huh.
if you're gonna mention history, let's go to the 2016 playoff final where the Sheffield Wednesday fans thought they won the game because they brought more fans, but we saw them crying at Wembley away.
What? What the hell? Great.
Great history fact.
Wow.
Basically, they got close to being to the Premier League. We saw them cry, and they went down to League One.
Oof. Oof. Wow.
It's just this picture of Mo Diame, and someone's got this sign saying, "We saw you crying at Wembley Way," and he also won the goal.
I remember the night. I think we relegated Newcastle in 2016.
Oof.
I think we stayed up as well because of that.
Yeah, they had signs at stadiums like Jack Cole back 90% off or something.
Wow. Speaking
Because
of,
he played for Sunderland like the previous season. Went to Newcastle that season and got down. Stupid.
karma, I call that karma.
He said he wanted to play for a bigger club.
Well, playing for a bigger club got him into the championship.
But he bounced back. So
Well, still. Speaking of rival clubs, Académica, my club's rivals, got relegated to the third tier of Portuguese football for the first time in their history, and I couldn't be happier about it. Fuck them. They represent everything that's evil in Portugal.
But the Football Manager Wonder Kids.
No wonder kids are coming out of that club. Not.
So what's evil about them?
Well, I'm gonna share with you a story which will explain to you exactly what's evil about them. So in 2015, when we got relegated to the lowest division possible because of our financial issues, when that was confirmed, their ultras decided to put in front of their stadium a coffin with my club's badge imprinted on it. So if you want to know what's evil about them, this is all you need to know. Their rivals get relegated to the lowest division possible, and they react to it by putting a coffin with their rival's badge imprinted on it in front of their stadium.
So they're a bit of a dead club then.
I certainly hope so. I hope they I know I shouldn't act like this, but I want them to suffer. Forever, because they gave us so much shit when we got relegated. Like, I think in a single season we were relegated like 5 tiers. So this is the lowest moment in their history, and boys, I am here to live it. And the best part is, there's still a chance for them to go down more tiers if they don't solve a couple of issues regarding financing. So they could stumble in a very similar way to what we did.
How the turntables.
What if they stumble right into your tier and have to play against your club?
That's a possibility. And I would be absolutely, thrilled with that idea, because right now I do think that if we encounter them on the pitch, we would batter them. Most in this exact moment, mostly due to morale more than anything else, because they were dead last this season in the second league of Portugal, with only like 2 wins and a few draws. All other games were losses.
Damn.
So yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy with this. I get to see my club going up while seeing my rivals get to the lowest point in their history. It's nothing less than they deserve for the treatment that they gave us when we reached the lowest point in our history.
Right. That sort of reminds me. Your club went up. Was it from the 3rd tier to the 2nd tier? Was it not?
What, mine?
Did you say? It says yes.
No. We went up from the highest regional league to the 4th tier of national football.
That reminds me of the National League, of another team I do follow, of York City.
Ah, yes.
Who got promoted to the 5th tier of English football.
That's
the National League.
Yeah.
That's the one, Vanarama National League.
Okay.
And credit to York City. Looks like they're slowly coming back up again to get back into the Football League. Yeah. So that's very good. I mean, I know I'm going on about loads of leagues again, but I saw something the other day. It was on Twitter. It was the French team who got relegated to the 2nd tier.
Oh, Saint-Etienne. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one.
Oh, yeah.
Now, That brings me on to the situation of crowd trouble at the moment. You look at Wembley and the surrounds they had around there to stop fans from doing such things. It's looking like more stadiums may need to implement something like that, but apparently the stadiums did have something like that before but had to get rid of them due to safety concerns. Now, what's your thoughts on this? Do you think more stadiums should have some form of like fencing at the lower ends of the stadium to prevent such things from happening in future?
Well, French football fans are historically not, peaceful and quiet. Every single season, there's at least a couple really bad incidents revolving around fans of a French football club. I personally do think that the hooliganism problem is much more present in France than it is in England, where hooliganism originated from. But yeah, I do think that clubs who know that their fans can be troublesome should implement harsher safety measures. But then again, not all clubs have such troublesome fans, so it's a really delicate line to thread between, do we want to keep others safe? Well, hang on. We want to keep others safe, but how do we do so without discriminating against our own fans? Because not all fans of a club are troublesome, even if the club's fans have a history of being so. So, for example, I know for a fact that not all Saint-Etienne fans agree with what those idiots did on the pitch. So it's a question of, how do clubs increase safety in the stadium without at the same time, hindering other fans' experience of the sport.
Yeah, so you also got that problem, but at the same time you've got for the Championship it's the English Football League, and they'll implement some fines, some possible point deductions, which could come into play. So clubs don't want to do that, but they may be given no choice.
Exactly.
So it's a tricky one, because you have some very passionate fans out there, and I know. I'm trying to think of one of the best atmospheres in the Championship. Trying to think.
While you think of that, I'll take my time to take my point of view, which is, I think point deductions and fines are just not enough. Like, it's not enough of an incentive to care about stopping them. When me and Lee were discussing about the incident, I was like, this team should be out of the Football League because of their fans. Because that's a lesson.
Yeah, that's a lesson.
Especially the pictures I saw, they were just throwing flares, fireworks towards the dugouts, towards, I don't know, it was like opposition fans, opposition players. That definitely crossed the line.
It was very coordinated, almost, I don't know how long it took to coordinate, but it was, okay, full time, we're relining for that area of said pitch with this flare.
Put it this way.
Like, that's not on.
The final penalty was scored. There was already fans lining the touch lines, ready to invade from nearly all sides. So they've had a chance to light them. This is all. I would say it's definitely been planned.
The stewards didn't do anything though.
What's that?
The stewards didn't do anything. They looked like they pretended like they were doing something. It reminds me of that video I see of this really old steward doing security check. He's not even touching him, just going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Just doing the motion.
I do think that in extreme cases like this one, a fair punishment in Saint-Etienne's case would be to have them drop another tier in the pyramid.
A double relegation.
Yeah, it was bad enough that they couldn't be good enough on the pitch to stay up in Ligue 1. But if you combine not being good enough on the pitch to stay up and having fans that because they weren't good enough, they decide to throw flares and fireworks at people who could have been killed in these incidents. If you have a bad team and even worse fans, you don't belong in either the first or the second tier of your national league. You belong in third and lower, at least.
I would even go, if you do double relegation, has to be double relegation and all games behind closed doors. Like,
I think
the penalty
Yeah.
needs to be so severe
that they learned their
that
lesson.
the clubs take it seriously and the fans will think 20 times before doing that invasion.
Yeah.
To be honest, if you look at cases like this in like the, I think it's the Balkan regions, like Serbia, Croatia, all this is like, not all of it's normal, but you get a lot more of this.
Yeah,
happening.
you get a lot more of this.
It just appears it's like it's like every other
A
game
thing.
or every rival game that
Well,
happens.
Yeah. Although to be fair, that does go deeper into like history and the sense of nationality that they have. That
Yeah.
in the case of the Balkans, it's really complicated because it goes into a lot of complicated cultural stuff that's out of the scope of this episode, to be honest.
And don't get me started on the racism though. Down there, especially with every time the England national team plays.
Yeah.
I think I know we've had a couple of incidents with Montenegro. Possibly one with Hungary. We actually play this weekend, I think.
I'll tell you the truth, I've forgotten about England playing recently, not gonna lie.
Yeah. But it's a Nations League game, so
Yeah,
it's just a glorified friendly.
pretty much. No, but it pretty much is, to be fair.
As I'm saying, we've had a few racism incidents from countries around that region.
Yeah.
And players have threatened to walk off on more than one occasion.
I mean, Jared Bowen's going to send him to the cleaners anyway, so.
Yeah.
Great.
Also, we have the Euros final. I mean, incidents like that are just not acceptable in football.
No,
It's not
absolutely
acceptable
not.
anywhere.
Exactly.
Just like, just because a couple of players of, I'm trying not to be controversial, but basically of a different skin colour,
Yeah.
because missing a penalty.
That-
Basically, because they're black, it doesn't matter what colour skin they are. You do not
Exactly.
treat them any different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have a similar issue here in Portugal where, since we have a colonial history in Africa and Brazil, we get a lot of half Portuguese, half Brazilian, or half Portuguese, half African players, be them from whatever part of Africa that was colonized by Portugal. Angola, Mozambique, Sao Tome and Principe, whatever. It's a constant thing that pisses me off every single time, but whenever a non-white player has a slightly less than pleasant match for the national team, we always get bigots going on about how we shouldn't have any black players on the team, any Brazilian nationals on the team. And it grinds my gears because those are some of our best players, and even if they weren't, nothing justifies questioning a player's place in the national team just because they had a subpar performance in one or two matches. And it grinds my gears especially that this only happens to non-white or non-100% Portuguese players. It's dumb, it's stupid, it needs to be put in check, but honestly at this point I don't really know how. Because it's a bit overwhelming is what it is. Right, Sid, what about the Indian national team? How are they doing?
Well, they're not that great. We can start with that. It's a good place. The Asian Cup is happening right now, but they did go through the World Cup qualifiers, and now this is going off memory. They had Afghanistan and Bangladesh in their group, which was the easy tie, and then Oman and Qatar in their group, and they ended up finishing third on the table of that, but they had so few points that they couldn't get into the next stage to qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah.
In terms of the Asia Cup, since that draw has been done, they've got Afghanistan, Cambodia, and Hong Kong in their group. So, I expect them to get out of this group and go to the knockout stages of the Asian Cup. There is no that difficult tie there. You know, Afghanistan should be beatable. Cambodia should be beatable. Hong Kong should be beatable.
Okay.
There's no question. All three of them
Yeah.
should be able to go through.
Is Sunil Chetri still playing?
As far as I know, yeah. He's no longer captain. He's not been captain for a while. It's now the goalkeeper, Gurpreet Singh Sandhu. That's the keeper.
This is a dumb question.
keeper.
This is a dumb question. Is Australia part of
The Asia
the
Cup?
Asia Cup?
I don't think they are.
That's
They are part of that confederation.
That's
Yeah,
a
they're
great
part of the
question.
Confederation, but not the Asia Cup.
Yeah, because
I know they take part in somewhat involved with them sort of countries.
Yeah, they take part in the World Cup qualifiers with the Asian football structure,
yeah.
but not the Asian Cup itself. Usually I've seen Australia in the other leagues in the Americas when they do their equivalent of the Euros. I'm getting the words wrong.
Copa
I've seen
America.
them on the I've seen them in tables for the North American competitions or South American competitions, just playing in those. Not usually the Asian Confederation for those cups.
I mean, to be fair, if there were an Oceania only cup, I think we all know Australia would dominate it.
And there is an Oceania only cup.
Really?
It's a great cup.
Hang on.
And amazingly, New Zealand lost it once.
Yeah.
To who?
Tahiti.
Tahiti.
Do you remember the 2013 Confederations Cup?
Yeah.
Well, the year before that, Tahiti won the OFC Nations Cup, I think they call it.
Yeah, it's OFC.
So they
Gotta
got
get it out.
And I remember watching it. They got battered by like 10-0 or 10-1 against Spain.
Oh.
In the Confed Cup.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a
So
lot of damage.
2020 was the last time the cup was meant to happen, the OFC Nations Cup. I don't think it happened because of circumstances that
Yes.
you know.
Circumstances.
I
Let's
know
leave it
they
at
held the
that.
knockout tournament, obviously, for the World Cup qualifiers, so I don't know if they combined the two competitions.
I highly
I have
doubt
no
it.
clue. I think they're two different competitions, to be honest.
But then again, half the Pacific Islands never turned up in Abu Dhabi anyway. Right.
But yeah, New Zealand have quite a lot of fun with success on that, and I mean they got a Premier League striker of Chris Wood, one of the Woods.
Yeah.
So they have a pretty good player up front.
Yep, he
so.
plays for our tribes.
Fun fact: the OFC Cup that Tahiti did win, neither New Zealand or Australia were the other finalists.
Was it Papua New Guinea?
Nope.
Okay, make a guess.
New Caledonia.
Caledonia?
Yeah.
I think that's the next one.
I know New Zealand were definitely in the semis.
Well, they
So,
better be in the
New
semis.
Zealand were indeed in the semis. They got
If
third.
New Zealand don't make it to the semis out of their group, their manager, their whole infrastructure gets fired. The whole team's fired.
Speaking of the OFC Cup, New Zealand have won it 5 times, Australia 4, and Tahiti is their third champion with 1 title.
One title.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, there have only been 10 editions of the OFC Cup, so...
Yeah, there not been that many. But it's quite clear which two nations have dominated that.
Yeah, it's obviously one of the more newer confederations because obviously the Pacific Islands, they were nearly all colonial territories, let's call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by the time they gradually gained independence, that's where that confederations come from.
Pretty much.
It's still really developing confederation. Because other than New Zealand, and even they're still far down the rankings, the Pacific Islanders have next to no chance of getting to the World Cup.
And to be fair,
I don't know this.
to be fair, those tiny Pacific Islands don't really have much infrastructure to have,
Or the population.
or the population, yeah, to have lots of stadiums, training grounds,
Basically, they'll have a local fisherman called Billy Bob or something. He really should play on the
Billy
football
Bob.
team.
Yeah.
I don't know.
San Marino, but
Pacific now.
multiplied.
Or Gibraltar.
Well, Gibraltar,
At least they have a professional. All the police officers, probably. Well, I'm trying to name physical professions that play football.
Prison FC.
One nation that I'm actually quite, I don't want to say surprised because that sounds condescending, but one nation that I'm always surprised to see playing very good football in Europe is Iceland, because it's an isolated, sort of isolated island in the Atlantic Ocean. Only around 400,000 people, I believe, live in Iceland. And somehow they have just about, no?
I was going to say... While
they have fallen off.
Yeah, I was going to say while the word...
Citizen.
2016, 2018.
You would know.
Yeah.
You would very much know.
We'll not mention citizen.
No, will not, please.
2016, 2018 was definitely that peak, but I think they have fallen off.
Yeah. Still, for a country of 400,000 people and not much history in European football club-wise, it was still surprising to see them perform so well in that edition of the Euros and that edition of the World Cup.
And the same can be said about Macedonia in the Euros recently. I think they performed pretty well.
Yeah. And it's
legends against Italy.
And it's a good thing they did, because it got Portugal into the World Cup. I'm just saying.
And Macedonia made it to the World Cup as well by defeating Italy. Right? Am I getting
That
this
was
right?
mental. That I still can't believe they're out.
Who got into Europe by defeating Italy?
Yeah, Italy
World
are not in
Cup.
the World Cup.
Oh, the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Italy got knocked out by Macedonia, right?
Italy
I
got
think
knocked out
so,
by
yeah.
Macedonia. Yeah.
It was basically a 90th minute winner.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
Absolutely
reminds
massive.
me. Are Ukraine still got a chance of getting into the World Cup with Scotland this
That would
week?
depend about their fixture rescheduling.
Oh, did they? When did they play?
I have no.
I know
idea.
it's soon. They play Scotland quite soon.
I think it was tonight. I think that's the point we're recording. I think it's next day.
Reminds me with Ukraine as well that Hull City are playing a game at home against Shakhtar Donetsk, and all the money's going to the people of Ukraine. So that'll be a good game.
The Ukrainian national team play with Scotland as of recording tomorrow at 7:45.
Yeah.
And it's in.
So it's tomorrow.
And it's in Scotland.
Yeah.
So Ukraine are going to Scotland.
Yeah.
Can I also just go back to the thing that was going on with like the racism?
Yeah.
Like Hungary and other countries around there.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, I know for a fact our game was going to have a behind closed doors fixture, but I'm now reading 30,000 fans are being allowed in, which I don't understand.
What, in the Scotland game?
No, Hungary versus England.
Oh.
They've been sanctioned recently because of their crowd, with various chants and so on. But they're basically allowing half the stadium to be full, even though the fixture should be behind closed doors.
That's odd.
So
That is very
thoughts on
odd. I think it's dumb if they're going back on their decision to make it be played behind closed doors. I don't understand it. It's
It's a UEFA loophole.
UEFA loophole?
The UEFA loophole?
The Hungarian Football Association is using a UEFA regulation that allows children to attend accompanied by an adult. And the Hungarian FA has had 30,000 children register for the game.
Interesting.
You
Nice
can't.
loophole.
You
If
can't.
That's not going to be
behind closed
consuming
doors.
alcohol.
If it's behind closed doors, it's behind closed doors, regardless if children are allowed into the game or not, through various regulations.
You can't see it, but I'm gonna be banging my head on the desk.
Maybe we can hear it. Nah, we didn't hear it.
Thank God it's the desk.
For fuck's sake! Of course there'd be a loophole like that. It's fucking UEFA.
There's a
But think
loophole
of
in
the
everything.
kids.
Fair point, Matt.
There's not a loophole in that, César.
Oh fuck. Shit.
What
Anyway,
if?
how have we not mentioned the Premier League at all?
Because the Premier League's the most irrelevant thing. You
I
know what's
mean-
more important? Indian
And
national
Leeds,
football team.
and Leeds didn't go down, so it's a terrible season.
Because we haven't mentioned the Premier League because none of our clubs are in the Premier League. Well, Nottingham
Yet.
Forest are now.
Now.
But-
But, you know, I don't even have enough knowledge.
So, shall I... Right, I'm going to get the table up and do a summary of the season. Shall I do that whilst you lot blabber on?
I mean,
Literally, I'm going to give myself 20 seconds for each team, at
Pre-
least.
the Premier League.
And we can all maybe take turns if you want to talk about a team. You know, we can just switch
Yeah.
around. Well, we'll figure it out as we go. By the time we get to the bottom team, you'll know what to do.
To me,
No,
Okay.
I think we should start at the bottom and then go to the top.
Oh, to the top.
Right,
Sure,
okay.
go on.
So,
Hang on,
20th.
what's it?
Norwich City, 22 points. They won 5 games this season, lost 26, drew 7. They'll be back up next season. Watford, they seem to go through as many managers as they do wins. So,
Wow,
you
shots
know,
fired.
they're 19th.
They
Burnley,
don't win a lot, but it's still quite a good coincidence.
I mean,
They shot
It was-
themselves in the foot.
they did when they got rid of Sean Dyche, is that his name?
yeah.
Shouldn't have sold Chris Wood either.
It was a weird manager sacking, I would add, on Sean Dyche. Because I
very-
think he did nothing wrong. That's where the team should be. And he
Very.
was doing the best with the bunch he had.
Very out of the blue, I must admit. But I'm sorry, I'm looking back at Norwich City. Their goal difference was minus 61. That's quite a lot of goals conceded.
That is.
What is it?
That is
Um,
How many
long.
goals did they score and concede
They
exactly?
conceded 84.
Goals for 23, conceded 84.
Yikes.
Ah.
Jesus Christ.
Leeds conceded 79.
Yeah, they're not that far behind either. Like, when Leeds lost games, they lost them
They really lost.
in a big way. Bielsa's
Like
way of
lost
winning
them.
was just attacking all the time, which was great, but it wasn't great enough because they didn't get relegated. So Leeds were 17th, 38 points, only survived on the final day. Everton, they're embarrassing. Pitch invading for avoiding relegation. The amount of money they spent, there should be at least like where West Ham are. At least. They should not be celebrating. It's an embarrassment, that. But they survived. Good on them. Southampton, 40 points, 15th place. Just a meh season for them again.
They did a Southampton.
Aston Villa, 14th place.
Didn't really replace Grealish early on. And the manager paid the price. Brought Gerrard in, Coutinho, a couple of other signings. Steven Gerrard's back.
Again,
I
that's where
reckon-
the team should be.
I reckon they'll be top 10 next season. You know, Coutinho in, and
Yeah.
just going to invest a bit into the club, so that'll be good. Brentford, hopefully they'll get second season syndrome. They'll be looking to just survive next season. Again, it's their first season in the Premier League, 13th place. Crystal Palace, one of those teams where they're just there. You know, I'm not. I know it sounds harsh, but you think, oh, Crystal Palace, all right.
Solid.
I must admit,
But they kind of are just like a middle.
yeah, they're kind of just there. The atmosphere is good there, I must admit, but that's about it.
And you know,
Newcastle,
they're just another London team.
but I'm not just saying this because Brandon's here. Well, not here. Well, we'd probably be listening. He'd be wondering what I'm saying. Newcastle, team of the season for me, because when they had Steve Bruce and sacked him, I think they were like 19th place with like 6 points.
I think so.
Eddie Howe came in, and since the second half of the season, I think on points, they would have been 3rd place in the Premier League for the amount of points they got. So they're up in 11th place, and I think they'll be the ones to watch next season.
It was an impressive turnaround, and there's a thing called the transfer window, and there's this thing they called money.
Yeah.
And I think if
they're richer than Man City now. They're richer than Man City now. Saudis are owning them, aren't they?
So I don't expect them to win the Premier League, but Champions League is the minimum expectation for Newcastle's next season.
I'm going to go within 3 years they'll be in the running if they get the right players in and they got the money.
I would say because of the amount of money they've got now, transfers they can do, top
Maybe
7. If they do not get top 7, that's failure.
So so Newcastle were the team of the season for me. Wolves 10th place, another solid season for them. They do play some good football. They gave some top teams a run for their money.
They always like that, though.
Brunelage Bay.
They literally have their teams Portuguese as well, I've noticed.
Yeah.
They have quite a lot of Portuguese players.
They do.
So, Brighton 9th place. They were doing really good at the start and sort of flopped halfway through, came back a bit towards the end, but...
Decent.
I reckon if they got the results early on, they could have literally been 6th or 7th.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
But Leicester, 8th place still, despite a very poor start because they had a lot of injuries, and towards the end of the season they got a lot of their players back. 8th place for them, another solid season. They're not in the Europa Conference or any Champions League slots, so they could maybe go for a good run now since they don't have many other competitions.
Yeah.
West Ham. When he came back, though, they were a different team.
It's a difference a world-class player makes.
Yeah, but the problem is now they will have to start get the replacement for him.
Yeah, of course.
Within the next season or two.
Yeah.
They'll cross that bridge when it comes to it, though. West Ham, very inconsistent. They could be really good one day.
Before?
They were, and then Antonio decided he didn't want to be a striker some games and not shoot properly.
West Ham
to which Shane's disapproval of Antonio. But Jared Bowen's massive. We move on. Man United.
Disappointment.
How they finished 6th, I don't know. Goal difference of 0. 58
Ronaldo
points.
stays there.
I think he is. I think he's still staying there. Got the Ajax manager in, who doesn't take rubbish. So top 4 for them, I think, next season.
It's disappointing to only be in the Europa League.
I think that it's really telling that Man United got 6th, and even still, Ronaldo got the Golden Boot.
I don't think it was Son who got the Golden Boot.
Was it?
Son got the Golden Boot on the last day.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Well,
it was
whatever.
between Salah and Son.
Silver Boot.
I think 2 of them shared it.
Whatever.
But
even still,
Ronaldo made a big difference in that team. I don't even want to imagine the situation that team does not have Ronaldo and what happens.
Yeah, Man United, had it not been for Ronaldo, they would have finished mid-table.
Oh, easy.
And let's really highlight this. This is not a good Ronaldo season.
No,
it's really not.
This is far from...
I think someone needs to really go through all the games that Ronaldo scored. Take those goals out.
And see the results.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, yes, they could have been mid-table, but how far could they have been to walk that game?
And
at times they were piss poor.
So I would say they definitely, for what Ronaldo produced, the price they paid was a lot. But what they needed was that.
Exactly.
And that was only enough for Europa League. That kind of shows the squad around that team doesn't work. You have a star player like that not able to carry that team.
Yeah. It just reveals poor team cohesion.
It's just the fact that I don't know if this is true, but I always seem to see them spending loads of money. Man City, not they say Man City's got all this money, but yeah, all I see is Man United's bought this player. They're buying this player. They can't keep saying, "Oh, Man City there because they got money." They had money. They're spending it wisely. Man United are just buying these big players, and they're not getting out from them. Exactly.
It's probably not the investment made correctly.
Yep.
Whereas Man City have made
What's
good investments.
Rashford done this season?
Been there.
Every time he's been on the pitch, he just looks like he's somewhere else. He looks like he's got there's something not right with him. Personally, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because he knows the fans just are really frustrated. He's frustrated. He can't get the club to where he wants to be. Something in the changing rooms somehow. Something needs to change in the running of Man United for them to get back up. And I often don't care, but
I got it. It's all in the plan.
I think Ed Woodward's supposed to be resigning, or if he hasn't already.
Supposed.
Just have to wait and see what happens with them, but they need to sort their actions out.
The Super League thing.
Right, let's go to the next club above. Arsenal, 69 points. Nice. 11 points above Man United. That gap between 5th and 6th.
Yeah, I think let's move away from Arsenal fans TV. The quicker the better.
Yeah.
Every time Arsenal lose, they are just a meme.
But look, only 3 draws during the season.
Yeah.
Still.
It was an okay season. I mean, the big highlight for me with Arsenal was them losing to Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup.
Obviously.
It's just slide in there.
Smile and wave, boys.
Right, let's move on.
With that said.
Tottenham.
Spurs, you know. They're Spurs.
They should be pretty happy with that.
They'll be happy, still no trophies, but no, they've already made a signing. I can't remember his name. Lee, what's his name?
Perisic.
Perisic.
Oh, Perisic.
So even the owners come out and actually said for a change they're actually willing to get some players in for Conte. So could they be underdogs? You know, a lot of people may be laughing at me, but on their day, Spurs can be there. They just need to be consistent.
Yeah.
And they will be there. The stadium now is incredible. They've got the facilities to do it. Get on with it.
Yeah.
Chelsea, start of the season, they were up there pretty much. People thought, oh, Chelsea are going to have a really good season then.
But then the Lukaku gate happened.
Yeah.
And owner issues happened, and since the owner issues took place, the play on the field, you could sort of tell it was getting affected. They were at threat of financial problems. I mean, they couldn't really sell tickets at one point because of what's going on in the world at this current time.
Yep.
Which we hope is rectified soon. But they've been bought out by quite a lot of money. Was it not billion? Was it a million?
Think so.
My memories does not exist on this.
A lot of money. Put it that way.
A lot of money. There we go.
Yeah.
It's a quick way of putting
a
it.
hunk of cash.
Personally, when I look at the stadium compared to like Man City's, Liverpool's, Arsenal's, even Tottenham's, Stamford Bridge needs a bit of work. In my opinion, it just looks like it needs updating. It needs to be bigger, in my opinion. That's all I'm going to say.
Let's not forget the lost 2 cup finals to Liverpool,
who didn't even score in the finals yet.
That's next on the list as well.
Which shall we go on about Liverpool, who were close to getting a quadruple. Yeah, they did a parade for winning the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup.
Carabao Cup parade. Everybody does that, right?
Yeah, oof. Yeah,
I mean, if you're like a championship team that wins it, I would agree with it.
But a Premier League team?
Because that competition gets you into Europe. That's why you're being a qualifying round.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a massive achievement if you're at a lower level. But the League Cup and some clubs for the FA Cup, they just treat it as just your under 23 academy out.
Yep.
Unless it's like a final.
Unless you stumble into the semi-finals.
Still play like the odd reserve player.
Yeah. And then you have, the champions, Man City.
Manchester City. The Champions League, man. I still can't believe that. They can't keep doing this. Like, the minimum expectation was to win the league after losing out on the Champions League. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
The amount of times you watch them, like, the football they play is great. But there's times where they're messing around with the box, passing it around. Just take a freaking shot.
Yeah.
Like,
Do a
messing
football.
around, just shoot. You're in the box, shoot. Don't just pass it around and look more ticky-tacky. Shoot it into the goal.
Exactly.
And that was my biggest frustration about what's happening in the final game against Aston Villa. They were all over them. Aston Villa go forward like twice, they score twice.
Twice, yeah.
You know, and
then they're
you
just
look,
all over him.
they had like, I think 70% possession to Aston Villa's 30.
Exactly.
I think genuinely they would probably be the most disappointed team, despite winning the Premier League.
Well,
Their goals should have
easily.
been, if they don't win the Champions League, let's win the FA Cup. Nah, they didn't even get that.
They should have
Like,
cruised past Real Madrid.
They should have got 2 cups in the minimum as their expectation for the season, whatever those 2 cups might be.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I
Gentlemen.
was gonna say also for next season, Haaland's coming in.
Ooh,
So
let's...
if they do not win the league with that striker,
They are...
like, absolutely cream the league, something goes wrong with Man City.
Exactly. And with that, gentlemen, that is all the time we have for this recording. Thank you so much for watching or listening to the PlebPod this episode. Remember that if you're watching on YouTube, we're in your favorite audio platform of choice, either Spotify, Google Podcasts, or Amazon Music. If you're listening in either of those, remember that the PlebPod and our gaming content is on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and to check out our other content if gaming is something that interests you. And with all that, I've been César, Lee has been Lee, Matt has been Matt, and Sid has been Sid. We'll see you in the next one with whoever appears in these 4 panels. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Great.